What's up, everyone? So, I'm on this weird quantum physics kick as of now. I've always kind of been interested in it, and it's really crazy how the comparisons of our thoughts and our actions and what we do and what we say really have power over not only ourselves, but everything that we touch or everything in our reality. And so, one thing in quantum physics, it talks about if you had a cat, say, in a room filled with poisonous gas, there's a dead cat and there's a cat that's alive. There's a cat at 2 points, and it doesn't actually become dead until you see it. Now, I'm simplifying the science unbelievably because when I research quantum physics, there's one thing that I know. Even those who research quantum physics regularly, like that's their job and profession, they don't even completely understand quantum physics. That's how deep the rabbit hole really goes. And so I'm simplifying it dramatically. I know that I am, but it's just the concepts behind it are really fascinating and interesting to me. It goes as far as when I coach people, one thing about coaching people is I always see the best version of them. Like I always see them functioning at their highest self. And so I feel that's why my clients get the results that they get at such a quick rate is because I see it before they even see it. Like it's already there. It's ingrained in them. They have the process. They just need to see it too. And that's all I'm really doing is honestly just opening their eyes to new possibilities. So we talk about limiting beliefs all the time, and it's easy to say just don't have the limiting belief. But again, these are things that have been hardwired into a person's mind for years and years usually. And so to just tell them something like, no, it's not there anymore, or no, it's not like that. This is the way that it is. It's not that simple. It's a process that you have to go through. And it's a really fascinating process to take them to a place that they didn't even know they could do. Couldn't fathom becoming this great thing that they always were. They were always that greatness. They just didn't see it or know it, or it wasn't in their reality. And so I look at quantum physics, and the crazy thing is it's almost like we create our reality through our thoughts, what we think about, what we perceive to be true. And the more true it becomes, the more our reality is basically transformed for us. It's basically we don't realize how powerful the words and the thoughts that we say are, but they're the most powerful things because it makes up what we are being at that moment, like our own being. So the people that we're surrounding ourselves with, the things that we do, the actions that we take, we've all created it because it all started from a thought in the first place. And one thing that's always been kind of interesting to me is people are really kind to me. They're very nice. I don't really see too many people try to screw me over. It's actually much, much less than the other way around. Like 9 out of 10 times, people are going to do the right thing for me. And though that one time they're not going to do the right thing, they literally vanish out of my life. I think a lot of times we ask ourselves the question, how do we get these people out of our lives? And the answer is see the best version of them. Because when you see the best version of them, they'll either just vanish out of your life or they'll just become that version that you see. And I think that holds real true power. And it's something that people need to kind of test on their own and see how this process works. But I'm telling you, our thoughts are unbelievably powerful. And it's hard to see it and it's hard to understand it because you have to go through the process. If I just told a person, your thoughts make your reality, some people would understand that and some people not so much. But the truth of the matter is, that's how powerful a real thought is. And there's a difference between a thought and a dream. If you're dreaming, I want this, I want to be this, I want to become this, instead of I am this, it's very different words. Very different words, and you're going to have very different actions. And so, even as I go through my process and go through the coaching that I do and go through the things that I do and I become, I take people through a journey, and I take people through the journey of their greatness, just being their very best. Because I know when people are at their best, they not only want to be their best for themselves, they want to be their best for others. Like that's the really cool part about it, is whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, those are all just words to me at the end of the day. I do know people get energy in different ways, but when you want the best for you, you're essentially going to want the best for others, and you're going to want to lift everybody up. I always say a rising tide brings in all ships. And so that's what leadership is. You know, we're always in a form of leadership. It's never truly over. Someone's always watching. Someone's always paying attention. And my child, actually, he's one reason why I actually step my game up even more, because he follows everything. He copies everything. And so when I talk about a thought, like everything starts with a thought, he is learning and developing and growing and understanding. And I'm going to show him how powerful thoughts really are. I'm going to guide him in his process and let him see you can become whatever you want to become. Is there a process to becoming whatever you want to become? Absolutely. See, the process is still there, but it does start with the thought. It starts with the belief that you can achieve it. You can become whatever you want to become. And when you see it, and you see it clearly, and it's in front of you, and you know it's you, it's not even in front of you, it is what you are. It is what and who you are. That's when it becomes a lot easier to do. One thing I do with a lot of my clients, I make sure to always keep my game high. I make sure to always be on top of my game. And that's why being a fighter, being an athlete, being in school even, when I would take tests, I have to do well. You know, when I do certain things, I have to do well. Not because I'm forced like you have to do this, but it's something that I always have to bring my game up, because how could I tell another person to bring their game up if my game's not on par? You know, so having a thought, I think that's a little bit going back to the thought and the dream. If I am not where I need to be, how can I tell anyone else where to go? Like, how could I lead a person without leading myself? It starts with you. It always starts with you. And so I think a lot of times people will say it's these external factors, and it's not the external factor, it's the internal factor. It's asking yourself, all right, how do I get better for the situation that I'm in? How do I become stronger for the situation that I'm in? How do I go internal enough? And what is it that I can do to make this whole situation better? And that's where it kind of comes with the relationships that I create with people, is I always look at what I can do, because I can't make them think a certain way or act a certain way. I can't do that. I can't force anything on them, but I can choose how I'll respond. I can choose what I'll become. I can choose what thoughts I'll have. And that's the most powerful thing you can have. I remember I had one client, and we're talking, and I don't remember what we were talking about exactly, but I do remember I ended up telling him, like, whatever I think, F me. It doesn't matter what I think. And he's like, I've never heard anybody say something like that. And this guy had been coached by several different people before. And I go, this is your reality, not my reality. You can become what you choose to become, no matter what I say, no matter what anybody says. It's up to you. And it was actually freeing to him. You know, I saw him make a major turnaround from that statement because it's true. Your reality is your reality. You can create whatever you want to create. Even as I'm talking to you on this camera, you can look at it and go, Cliff's a pretty cool guy. Cliff sucks. Cliff is awesome. I don't really care for him. I feel indifferent. And that's the reality that you're creating. Like, you're creating it. No one else is creating it for you. It's not what I'm doing. I'm just going through my process and my journey. And so whenever I see someone, whenever I read a comment, the positive comments, they feel great. The negative comments, I've only had one, luckily. We'll see if I get any more. I'm sure I will, but the negative comments, those are great too, because it gives me a chance to either A, strengthen myself, focus on what I can do, focus on what I can control. Two, see if they're right about something. Really look at it and maybe they're making a good point. And if they're making a good point, well, do I change it or do I not? It's my journey. I get to decide from there. Whatever I want to do, I get to make the decision. I get to make the choice. And the same's true for you. Whatever you want to do in your life, you get to make the decision. You get to make the choice. But yeah, I kind of rambled there. And those are my thoughts of quantum physics. You know, quantum physics, an interesting thing. And it really does tie in to a lot of the successful books that even I read, like Think and Grow Rich and what is it called? What the Bleep Do We Know? There's a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? There's a lot of fascinating things behind quantum physics that it continues to fascinate me, and I'm just going to keep jumping down the rabbit hole, you know? Even as I make this video, maybe someone will mention something to me of interest, and who knows, we might even meet. That's the way the world works. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know it was a little long. It was just something that I was thinking about, something that's going on, turning in my head. And I want to know, are any of you interested in quantum physics? You know, I think it goes really hand in hand with self-development because it really says your thoughts, your perception are more powerful than sometimes you even realize. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.